Hey all, my name is Paul Borosky and I am the owner of Quality Business Plan, and what I'd like to do today is to introduce y'all to my beginner's guide to financial analysis for Microsoft 2022. So the way the video is going to play out is first and foremost going to go ahead and give you all a little bit of background about me, who I am, what I do, and why I do it. After that, what we'll do is we'll take a look at the beginner's guide to financial analysis for Microsoft 2022. I'll show you all the three components that are included in the beginner's guide, which is the income statement component, the balance sheet component, and then the financial ratio component. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at this PowerPoint presentation that I've got concocted for your listening and viewing pleasure. So as promised, a little bit about me. Again, Paul Borosky, doctoral candidate, MBA. I am the owner of Quality Business Plan as well as Quality Business Consultant. And I do publish company reports for public companies in the U.S. And I do that for between 15 to 25 public companies on an annual basis. I'll do the company reports as well as beginner's guides. And I've been doing that for the last 5 years, so they do sell pretty well, and students as well as investors have found those very helpful. I am also a published author. I've published the Beginner's Guide to Understanding Financial Statements and Financial Ratios. I've published that online on Amazon.com. And then finally, I am an adjunct professor and subject matter expert. I've been doing adjunct professor for about the last 9 to 10 years, so I do have some educational background as well as some professional training in teaching finance. So I do have some background in that as well. All right, enough about me. Let's talk about the Microsoft 2022 Beginner's Guide. So as I stated earlier, the start of the show is Microsoft 2022 Beginner's Guide to Financial Analysis. And the way this report is broken up is I first introduce you all to the income statement, and I break the income statement down for you. Then I go into the balance sheet, and then finally we take a look at the financial ratios for Microsoft for the last 5 years. So the income statement section starts off with a summarized version of Microsoft income statement for the last 5 years, and this is the actual summarized version of Microsoft income statements for the last 5 years that are included in the beginner's guide. After this, what follows that introductory summary statement is I will break down important aspects or important line items in the income statement. For example, revenues. I'll tell you what revenues means. I'll define it. I'll give it to you in layman's terms, and then I'll give you some analysis tips as to what to look for when evaluating that specific line item. Next thing we'll do is once that section is complete, I go into the Microsoft summarized balance sheet. So what I've done is I've summarized Microsoft's balance sheet for the last 5 years, and here are the results of that summary. So this is the summary that's actually included in the beginner's guide. And I also follow the same process. I'll identify important line items in the balance sheet. I'm not going to go through every single one of them, but I'll hit a lot of them. I'll tell you what that line item means. I'll give it to you in layman's terms, and then I'll give you some analysis tips as to what to look for in that specific line item. Now, for the Microsoft financial ratios for the last 5 years, I do approach this a little bit differently. So for the financial ratios, I'll break it into 4 categories: liquidity ratios, asset ratios, profitability ratios, and then debt ratios. After that, I will then go ahead and identify the specific ratios that I calculated for each one of those categories. For example, liquidity ratios, I calculated the current ratio, the cash ratio, quick ratio, and net working capital. I will also provide you all with the formulas that I use in those calculations, as well as a summary of the findings for each one of those ratios. I will then go even further, and I will identify important ratios that I calculated. I'll talk about the ratio, tell you what that ratio means. I'll introduce you all to the formula again, and then I'll give you in layman's terms as to what that financial ratio means. I'll give you some analysis tips as to what to look for when analyzing that financial ratio, and then I'll again give you a summarized finding of what the calculated ratio, and then I'll also show you the formula, current assets divided by current liabilities, and it will give you the numbers that I used in those calculations. So hopefully that information was helpful. If y'all are interested in purchasing my Microsoft 2022 Beginner's Guide to Financial Analysis, you can find it at this link right here. And as always, go out and have a great day. Thank you.